Hey everybody, it is October 12th, 2018, and this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, coming at you with some more news you can use. Uh, I'm getting really just bombarded with microwaves. The neurotechnology is just really hurting my cognitive functions. So I guess that's a good sign. I guess that means I'm putting some good information out. And will continue to do so. So I'm going to probably make this video quick, not do too much editorializing. I just want to get some important information out, just connect the dots. The Department of Defense has, information systems and magazines like on basically online information sources that are given funding. This is the 2018 Directed Energy Educational Outreach by Directed Energy Professional Society. And I was doing some of the articles from, I was going through some of the articles from this, what do you call it? I guess organization, an informational outreach organization which collects articles and information about directed energy and supports the directed energy community. They basically tell about everything from neuroweapons to high power microwaves to anti-personnel directed energy weapon systems. They have, all these news articles about the Cuban embassy attack, the China consulate attack, and everything like that. They give all of the information that people need to know that this is happening without saying, "Hey, we're experimenting on a bunch of innocent citizens." I mean, these articles and the things that the contractors and subcontractors put out, that are getting contracts from the DoD. They even state that they are doing research and development on anti-personnel directed energy weapon systems. So I just want to say, like, who do you think that they're researching and developing these things on? And then you get a big community of people saying, hey, we're being hit by microwaves, we're being tortured, they're doing stuff to our brain and our nervous system. And a lot of people call us crazy, but the DoD admits that they are doing research and development uh, for anti-personnel directed energy weapon systems. So without them coming out blatantly, and I think I'm trying to find if somebody has the news clip of that general. I don't think it was Michael Hayden, because Michael Hayden, said that, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about. To people who have confronted him, there was another general who they fired after he said that, directed energy weapons were not ready enough for war because they needed to test them on our own population because that would be the most humane thing to do. I don't remember his name, and I think it was like Wyden, maybe. Um, I'm probably getting that wrong, but if anybody has that video clip, I'm gonna look for that and try and put it out on my other videos, because I say they go they tell everything, every detail of what they're doing, except saying, hey, we're experimenting on innocent citizens. But that's not really true. That's even slipped out at certain points. um, so this is the Defense Systems Information Analysis Center. This is an organization just like the Directed Energy Professional Society, funded by the DoD, for directed energy weapon awareness and spreading awareness, basically to get funding for it, to get people excited about what it can do for the military and things like that. It's very scary because they do run it like a business, and they just kind of don't talk about the non-consensual human experimentation that's destroying lives. I mean, really, really, these weapons are really, really ripping me up, ripping my head up. I kind of like, 8 years ago when the torture became overt, and then 2 years later, I think I started making videos. And I thought it would be different now. I thought that they would be ripping my body up, but I would still have, a lot of cognitive function. I still do. I can talk, but it's different. my attackers, because I do try and put information out, do switch it up and don't just rip apart my body without messing with my mind. They're really trying to mess with my emotions more, my emotions and my cognitive ability, because they know I'm trying to put information out. It's not what I expected, but like what I kind of communicate to my attackers in my inner voice. I say, I don't need a brain. I haven't needed a brain up till now, so I don't need one now. All I need is chutzpah, adrenaline, and they're even, knocking down my adrenaline, but and faith, my spirit, what I have in me. I've never really needed my brain before. I am smart in some things, but I can do this without my brain. It's so important, and I'm kind of just joking there. I mean, I have cognitive function left, but the memory thing is just, it's a horrific nightmare. I mean, I used to be able to, watch a movie, know all the actors' names, anybody I met, I could remember their name, and now it's just like I don't even can't even remember like a lot of names that are very easy, and it's there's a lot worse stuff than that, but okay, enough about that. I'm really rambling about some weird stuff. So let me just read this, because this is the Defense Systems Information Analysis Center, and I'm going to read some articles from them. But I want everybody to know that this source is, it's not like just some internet source that's theorizing about what's going on. These people know about the contracts. They know details of the weapon. Under articles about neuroweapons hitting people, they put those titles under it. They are privy to the contracts and the technology that the DoD is researching and developing. And then they're basically putting out information in articles. They collect articles to put in their online journal for awareness, and to support the directed energy weapon community, to get more money and funding and stuff like that. Which, I don't really think they need, because they're getting a lot of money from Congress to develop directed energy weapons, and then there's a lot of black budget, and then who knows about other sources of funding for this. So there's a lot of money being made, and that's one of the points. It's like, people say, people who do not believe that this is happening. I guess there are some real people who still don't believe this is happening, which is insane to me. It's insane, and it's so important, because this is like people, the kids are being experimented on with this stuff. Kids are being experimented on with this stuff, probably even babies in the womb, because they're getting this wide spectrum of experimentation on different personalities and different ages, see how it affects the brain and the nervous system, how the weapons work on everyone. So this is not something where it's like, oh, those targeted individuals, directed energy, they're all crazy and selfish. They want attention. This is really happening. Please take this serious. If it's not directly targeting you, because it can happen to you at any time. This is about all of us. It's not just about targeted individuals who it's happening to right now. It's about the targeted individual that they're going to pull into this program tomorrow. It's about if you have kids, if this keeps going 10 years down the road, them being pulled into this program and experimented on. So please don't think, oh, that's them. That's those targeted individuals. We are you. And I want to stress that. We are you. I had a regular life. I have not committed any crimes. I have a good family, very smart. I wanted a career and a family. Because I got some surgeries, like earlier on in life, I got implanted. I'm kind of thinking it's Ochsner's now. I went to Ochsner's for my Crohn's disease, and I've been learning a lot about how Ochsner's is very connected to the CIA. They're very connected to the military-industrial complex, and Ochsner did a lot of non-consensual experimentation with cancer, like injecting people with cancer and things like that. So that's kind of that's my biggest suspect, is when I went to get treatment for my Crohn's disease at Ochsner, probably when I was about 13. And then I had a surgery on a fistula and then and a lot of colonoscopies and stuff like that. And I think that that's where I got, the implant in, and then for years intermittent whatever tracking and stuff, and then it turned into intermittent pain without the high pitch sound, and then in 2011, full-fledged overt surveillance, over targeting with the tinnitus-like sound. But that's kind of what I've been kind of thinking about lately. Um, I am getting sick of talking about this and dealing with it. I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way because like I'm pretty isolated and very sick from this stuff. So, this is what I feel like I can do. I don't even really feel well enough to like make a video, but I can read some articles and get the information out. But enough about that stuff. I just want to read this. Give me a second. Just really, like, my nervous system is just shaking. So bear with me, guys. In an era of growing global technologization and improvised tactics, the necessity for a third offset strategy to combat this new paradigm is becoming increasingly evident. To ensure the United States maintains an advantage over our potential adversaries, the Department of Defense is concentrating research and development efforts on innovation, such as directed energy technology, which holds great promise for maintaining technological superiority in a budget-conscious environment. Accordingly, the charter of the Defense Systems Information Analysis Center is to provide an information resource for the DoD, U.S. government agencies, academia, industry, and other directed energy stakeholders to increase the value of government-owned research and development information through repurposing, reuse, and enhancement. DSIAC's free technical inquiry service, limited to 4 hours, is available to provide the directed energy community with document retrieval, literature searches, answers to technical questions, technology assessments, modeling and simulation tools. Other services include collecting, organizing, and disseminating directed energy-related scientific and technical information, fostering and supporting the directed energy community with subject matter experts, providing training conferences, state-of-the-art reports, and publishing DSIAC journal articles. For analysis tasks that exceed the free 4-hour limit, a core analysis task delivery order vehicle is available for DSIAC to perform specialized work under our pre-completed IDIQ contract. For more information on DSIAC or DOD-IACs, visit http://iac.dtic.mil. So reading that, I just wanted to connect the dots. This is a valid source, and it's a more than valid source because it's actually funded by the DoD to put technical information out about directed energy weapon issues in society and things like that. This is insane. The DoD is talking about it. They have people who are tasked with talking about directed energy weapons, anti-personnel weapons. Anti-personnel means against human beings. They're doing research and development. Ask yourself, who are they doing research and development on? Neuroweapons. We know that they exist. They are doing research and development on them. Who are they doing research and development on them? Then the question of, and then I just want to bring this up a lot because I hear this argument from people who are like, oh, these crazy lunatics, they're not important for the government to follow, important enough for the government to follow around or hit with weapons or want to know what they're thinking or whatever. We saw what happened in the Cuban embassy attack, right? Those were American embassy workers, and it got into the news. So picking people who don't have titles and maybe don't have as much clout as American embassy workers keeps it out of the news, you see. So there's another reason. There's a plethora of reasons why they experiment on normal people. We have to look at MK Ultra. We have to look at the Tuskegee experiments. We have to look at all the non-consensual human experimentation in the history of the U.S., the history of other countries. countries have been experimenting on their own citizens since countries existed. So I mean, that's just it's a given. I don't understand. I don't understand. Well, I don't understand a lot of things about what's happening. I don't understand the denial of our society. We are in danger. We are in danger. Like, and there are certain people like me and other target individuals who are probably watching this video. Um, we are being murdered. I mean, we're being tortured right now in our homes. Like, and then we walk outside, we're being harassed by community placed agents and community policing from DHS fusion centers so that we're discredited. And it adds another level of trauma, among other things that they're doing that for. This can happen to anybody. These are good citizens that it's happening to. So I just want to say I don't understand why citizens who this is not happening to would not deem it important. It's a direct threat to your family and to yourself. Um, and I just want to kind of bring that home that that we need to deal with threats, to our species. We need to deal with threats to freedom. I mean, we've got so many threats to freedom, and it's like this word conspiracy theory has been used to allow people to justify not paying attention to it and paying attention to their short-term survival for long-term annihilation. I mean, long-term annihilation, there's so much okay, this is just one thing. I mean, there's just a plethora of problems with non-ionizing microwave radiation, smart meters, microwave towers near schools, and things like that. This documentary on smart meters, they did experiments on rats with not like certain levels of non-ionizing microwave radiation that we have coming from cell towers. They did that on these rats at certain levels, comparable to the levels that we receive in our own homes from smart meters. And like then there are people who are being directly hit with directed energy for military purposes and consumer purposes and medical purposes and things like that. But these mice, within 3 generations, were sterile. They were sterile. They were made sterile. So, and I'll bring that up on another video. But with humans, they are with the research and with the experiment. They were saying with humans, it would probably be 4 to 5 generations before you would see mass sterilization of the population from how much non-ionizing microwave radiation that we have, all around us. This is a lot right here. This is just my iPhone. This stuff is really dangerous. It's killed so many people, not who aren't even directly targeted, who maybe live by a cell phone tower, a microwave tower, um, who live by a cluster of smart meters and things like that. So now they're directly targeting people, and they have been for a long time. It got really big after 2001 and 2008. They started just grabbing in people. This stuff is so deadly for human beings. Um, and there are a lot of catalysts. I'm not talking about the nanoparticulates and stuff like that. I'm talking about there are certain things that are getting into our system that have traces of the monkey virus in it. So look up the monkey virus. That people who have the monkey virus in their system, they don't necessarily get sick right away, but they are at risk to have they have a lot more risk for cancer later in life. Then you take something like the monkey virus, and there's studies that show vaccinations have traces of the monkey virus in it. Now then you add electromagnetic frequencies, non-ionizing microwave radiation to stuff within our system that coalesces and creates cancer faster. So these subjects need to be discussed if we want to live, if we want to keep our brains intact. I mean, if we want our species to survive. And I think that the majority of the population deserves to survive and thrive more than the cabal at the top. I'm sure they're staying safe. They have ways to stay safe from this because they know that it's like a kind of depopulation giving people cancer, experimenting on people. The countries we live in now are basically just giant petri dishes where you're lucky if you just don't get picked in a lottery system, and that's a fact. I mean, that's a fact. It's hard to deal with. I know, because like social engineering, we all got to work, we all got to take care of our families, we all got to do those things. I'm in a position where I'm dying. I could get cancer, I could get Alzheimer's, I could get dementia from this stuff. I'm talking to a lot of people who are being tortured. They're also being murdered. So I can't just go out easily and get a job. I have resources. My parents are really helping me out. I've got disability, so I've been lucky. So this is what I can do. This is what I I hate talking about it all the time. It's a seriously it's scary subject. So I understand why people make fun of it, or they maybe get angry about it and say it doesn't exist. Those are I think sometimes it's instinctual reactions from human beings, but we got to face it. We got to face these things that are gonna change the face of our society in total, like in really bad ways. Technology is a tool, and I think with the systems that we have in place, they're not being controlled. The money is controlling what the technology is doing, not individual people. It's the system that's just snowballing out of control, and there's so much money in it that the people who are temporarily making money don't really care about how bad it's going to hurt people in the future. Um, okay, I'm sorry about rambling. I'm going to go straight to the articles. I got some really good evidence, just some more good proof. I saw, I read one of the articles on this Defense Systems Information Analysis Center, and there are just some bombshell articles. And I read part of this, but I want to go back and read the whole thing. So October 8, 2018, the Epoch Times. So this, whatever it's called, uh, Defense Systems Information Analysis Center collects other articles, from technology magazines and things like that, and so in the heading, it's a picture of some people in China, and then directed energy non-lethal weapons. With sonic weapon attack, China demonstrates experimental program. I'm going to see if the whole article comes up here. I may have to go. Yeah, I want the full article. Okay. And I hope all you guys are doing well today. I hope you're doing relatively well. That's what I kind of tell people. Like when they ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, well, relatively doing okay for what's happening to me, or I'm doing relatively bad. It's hard when you've been going through this stuff for so long. Okay, so by Josh Phillip, the Epoch Times. With sonic weapon attack, China demonstrates experimental program. An employee at the U.S. Embassy in Guangzhou, China, allegedly suffered mild traumatic brain injury after hearing a vague and abnormal sound, as revealed in May 23rd health alert released by the embassy. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was quick to draw similarities between the incident and a 2016 incident in Havana, Cuba, in which U.S. Embassy personnel were sickened from an alleged sonic attack. Pompeo told the House Foreign Affairs Committee the medical indications are very similar and entirely consistent with the medical indications that were taking place to Americans working in Cuba. He said the United States has sent medical teams and is working to figure out what took place, both in Havana and now in China as well. The incident elicited all forms of reactions from news outlets, yet the common narrative now floating around is an attempt to write the attack off as being not a sonic attack, but instead a slip-up with electronic monitoring technology, framing the U.S. government response as a hasty conclusion and overreaction. What this prevailing narrative fails to note, however, is the long history of such weapons in the Chinese military arsenal. Sonic and ultrasonic weapons fall under the broader category of directed energy weapons, which also include a range of weapons on the electromagnetic spectrum. These can be used for many purposes, including destroying electronic equipment, making a targeted person feel ill, or even damaging a targeted person's internal organs. So they're just saying it right out there. Directed energy weapons, anti-personnel weapons, they can do these things. That's what targeted individuals are experiencing, kind of a cooking of our insides, and then the neuroweapon attacks from streams of electromagnetic energy. Very real. And I don't know why I keep saying that. I know most of you guys watching my channel, you are survivors of this non-consensual human experimentation, so you understand this. There's a method to my madness, trust me. Right now, I want to just get hard-hitting, documented proof out there. We just need more awareness. We need more of these real people who are like, oh, that's schizophrenia or whatever. We need more of them waking up. We need capable people joining the fight, or at least spreading the word, and also this information, I want to give us as targeted individuals, real resources for understanding, because still at this point, and I don't know why this is, and I guess there are reasons, but still at this point, I'll go to conference calls and people will come on and just be like, what is this? Why would people do it? I think it's, somebody down the street, some of my neighbors smoking crack and they stole this weaponry. This is a huge organized Department of Defense, military industrial complex thing. So I hear a lot of targeted individuals and they're like, well, some my drug addict neighbors who were drinking all the time, they must have just stole this weaponry and, they're hitting me 24 hours a day for years and years. Probably not true. That's probably not true. They may act like that on V2K. They may pretend to do drugs and pretend to drink a lot, but this is like a job for most of these people. It's shift work, working with automated systems. James Giordano talks about that. But the maybe just not understand. I mean, it's simple. This is really simple. It's organized. It's organized. It's our military industrial complex. Now, how that web is set up, the contractors and subcontractors, Army intelligence, Air Force intelligence, Navy intelligence, CIA, Pentagon, DoD, who's giving money to who and who's giving contracts out to which subcontractors and contractors, which compartmentalized parts of universities and hospitals are involved. That's complicated. But it's simply complicated. It's the military industrial complex. We just have to figure out exactly how the money flows. And it's a complicated web on purpose, so that the people doing compartmentalized jobs don't really understand the full picture and how much damage that they're doing and how many families they're murdering. And then that's not even talk about like the gang stalkers or community policing people. They call them what do they call them? The Citizens Corps for DHS fusion centers and InfraGard for FBI. All of these people doing this. This is also another reason we need to get awareness out. That's common sense. I think a lot of these people don't understand that they are an accessory to murder. They are an accessory to murder and torture and rape. They don't understand that. They just think you're maybe somebody crazy in the neighborhood, or somebody who needs to be watched, or you did this crime and got away with it. I think the more that we can build awareness with them, the more that that they're not gonna be, at least a big percentage of them will stop being involved, and take power away from DHS fusion centers, from civilians working with them. And as more information comes out, the people who keep working for this while knowing it's on Microwave Citizens will make it easier to draw a line and say these people do know what they're doing, the more information and awareness is out. So yeah, okay. Sorry guys, I'm kind of curt and I'm just feel awful, just feel really sick. So let me catch my breath. I'm gonna take a drink of cola, an electronic. Oh, my chest hurts so bad. On a good note, I got this new video game, the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's a huge game. I got to do something to keep my mind going, you know. And I've been watching a bunch of Saturday Night Live things on YouTube. I didn't really like Saturday Night Live. I didn't think it was that funny, but I'm just looking for anything that's kind of light and funny right now. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I like. See, I can't remember his name. Um, oh, I can't remember his name. He does. Oh, he does the impression of Charlie Sheen. Oh my God, he's like my favorite guy on Saturday Night Live on the new ones, and I can't remember it. Bill something. He's really funny. He's really funny. Okay, hold on, guys. Bill Hader. Bill Hader. I actually think that my attackers gave me that. Like, I actually think they injected that um, in my inner voice. Like, because it just popped up and I couldn't remember it at all. They do that sometimes. Like, they'll do the inner voice, the synthetic telepathy for things that I can't remember. And I think that's kind of a Trojan horse, so that if they wanted to push things in that are bad, your brain kind of accepts it easier. At this point, though, I have to be honest, with the neuroweapons being used on me in the remote neural manipulation protocols, I've really lost track. The first couple of years and up till about 2 years ago, I was like, okay, this is what they're doing to me. They're injecting this visual, they're making me feel this way. But as the protocol rolls on, I am able to block a lot of it out with Dave Case's CD. It gets a lot more complicated, and they're doing many things at once with the neuroweapons. So there's a lot of things that I'm like, is this just me from prolonged years of torture, or is this part of, is this amount of depression from prolonged torture and isolation, or is a lot of it artificial? I question where the lines intersect with that. And I'm a very smart person. I don't want to say I'm a very smart person, but I have an okay intelligence. And I also, one of the things, I had Crohn's when I was smaller, when I was little. I had a flare up when I was 10 and had to fight that for many years. And so I'm very body conscious. Like, I know what's going on with my body. I know what's going on with my mind, because I had to learn at a very early age to survive and go to school and be aware of what's happening to me, so that if I was getting a flare up or it was affecting me, that I would know what to do. I look back on that, guys, and I really say that God was preparing me, because I had to learn, like, even when I was in just profound amounts of stomach pain, to be able to do school projects, school presentations, go to work, and everything like that. And it's helped me to do things like this, even though I'm in an absolute amount of pain. And some of the cognitive effects I view as physical pain. I view them as physical pains to get past, like, because it's mental injury. It's not really mental illness. So it's not like my organic mind just messing up. It's like my mind being traumatized by electromagnetic pulses, the chemicals, less serotonin, I'm sure, and stuff like that. So I really see those as a physical, what's called, like a physical trauma to get past, even the cognitive stuff. Um, but let me continue. Hold on, guys. Oh, all right. Okay, the show must go on. Got to get this information out. I just can't believe this isn't common knowledge, because the people doing it are, putting the information out there. They just can't say, hey, we're experimenting on citizens. That's classified information. You have to have certain clearance to know that they're experimenting with directed energy weapon systems on innocent civilians. Down the line, well, I won't talk about all that, but that's why the mainstream media is actually, I don't see why. I know that they're, the mainstream media is part of the military industrial complex. So this is a matter of national security, that innocent citizens are being randomly experimented on with directed energy weapons. The thing that, and like, I don't understand that. That's treasonous and evil and against America, against any country it's being done in. But then the mainstream media writes propaganda articles saying that we're crazy, saying that this doesn't exist when you can look up directed energy weapons. So that's a very purposeful thing. Many of these articles, like the article from BuzzFeed, the New York Times article that was a while back with Timothy Trespass, that was straight up propaganda. That was straight up no research. They were being funneled from agencies within the military-industrial complex to write a hit piece. And I guess this is common sense, but I'm just talking. Um, I think that's common sense for all of us going through this. Let me continue this article real quick. Like gun, missile, and bomb technologies, can be utilized against people. Can be utilized against people, material, and infrastructure, said Robert J. Bunker, adjunct research professor at the Strategic Studies Institute at U.S. Army War College, in an email. As late as the early 1990s, information concerning non-lethal weapons, NLW, and their human bioeffects, at least the advanced due forms of them, was discussed primarily within the classified world, he said. There are various weapons within this category on the electromagnetic radiation spectrum, which includes visible light, and on the sonic spectrum, which includes audible sound. When directed against humans, different bioeffects will result, Bunker said. Now, who is this guy? Robert J. Bunker, adjunct research professor at the Strategic Studies Institute at US. So that's who's saying this. There are various weapons within this category on the electromagnetic radiation spectrum, which includes visible light, and on the sonic spectrum, which includes audible sound. When directed against humans, different bioeffects will result, Bunker said. As an example, high-powered microwaves targeted at humans can raise their brain temperatures, resulting in seizures and damage, while infrasound can create vibrations in the human body, causing disorientation and incapacitation, or potentially even causing organ failure. So let me connect some dots right there. This is a guy, he's a research professor at the Strategic Studies Institute at US. So it's like I guess an arm of the Department of Defense Strategic Studies. There's strategic studies, like how do we use these weapons, blah, blah, blah. It's part of the military-industrial complex. He's stating this. When directed against humans, different bioeffects will result, Bunker said. As an example, high-powered microwaves targeted at humans can raise their brain temperatures. Now, how do they know that? How does the military-industrial complex know that? Because they've been tested on human beings and are still being tested on human beings. Just connect the dots. They're not coming right out and saying, well, we know all this because we've tested this on people. We've tested on people without their consent. I don't, maybe some people from the military volunteered for some of the early experimentation, but they are doing non-consensual human experimentation. How do they know this stuff? How do they know the bioeffects? All right. And they do use it in war. They do use it against enemy combatants, but there's not a lot of talk about that. From my research, they're not using this stuff on enemy combatants like they're using it on us. They're either maybe causing heart attacks for foreign leaders, or like the directed energy at such a high level that it just burns people's legs off, and that's the type of stuff that they're using on enemy combatants. Well, they did do the voice of God weapon, in was it Iraq? Yeah, I think it was the Iraq War. It was like during the Gulf War they did that. So they probably done a lot of that stuff too on enemy combatants, and used what's it called, the active denial system on maybe crowds of soldiers to microwave them so it disorients them and stuff like that. That's what I would guess. I need to do some. I may do some videos on like directed energy weapons used in military combat. A 2005 secret report from the National Ground Intelligence Center, declassified in 2011, describes experiments the Chinese Communist Party was conducting with high-powered microwaves and electromagnetic frequency radiation weapons on animal test subjects. And there's a guy who I'm gonna go over, and Karen Stewart has talked about him. Who they would bring in dogs to test this stuff on. I think in the 1990s, maybe it was the 1990s or early 2000s. I'm not sure. I'm going to get more, but they do test this stuff on animals. I think they tested it on animals first. When they weren't sure if it was just going to make the brain explode, and then I don't know. I think the human testing and the animal testing kind of was at the same time. Honestly. I'm not going to say that's factual. I'm not sure, but that's just kind of, from what they're doing now. I don't think they had any problem starting the human experimentation on human beings. And by they, I mean our military industrial complex, our intelligence agencies, the military industrial complex, the DoD, Air Force intelligence, naval intelligence, and then the contractors and subcontractors. It states the CCP sign. Did I read that one? Okay. According to the report, the CCP scientists made it clear in a series of seminars that the real purpose was to investigate potential human effects of exposure to these specific radiations. It states the CCP scientists were using the technologies to cause eye injury, brain injury, and organ injury. Many details on the tests are redacted in the report, but it notes there was a high mortality rate among the animal test subjects. And the analysis states that due to gradual effects of such weapons, it was possible that CCP scientists were developing the technologies for torturing prisoners. This is China. They're talking about the Chinese Communist Party. I think what they're doing here, and this is just editorializing, they're saying that the incident in China, they have these weapons, so they're trying to, blame it on China using these weapons. And they always talk about Russia using microwave weapons. They talk about China using microwave weapons. They talk about maybe Cuba uses microwave weapons, but they never say what the United States of America is doing with microwave weapons in American articles that are in the mainstream or being, maybe, I guess they do because they talk to James G. Adorno and stuff like that, but it seems like, okay, well, let's put that aside. I think they actually do. But they would never say that America is actually torturing people. They would say China is and Russia is and maybe Cuba is, but they stay away from that. But you can put two and two together. If these countries are experimenting on human beings and hurting human beings, well, is the United States? I would bet my life, well, because I am being tortured by it, so I would, bet my life on I would bet on my dead grandfather's grave and my grandmother and my other grandfather, who I revere so much, that this experimentation is going on. So take that. Boom. All right. Now I'm kind of, I feel like shit. All right. It also notes the Chinese scientists had connections to the CCP's military, the People's Liberation Army. It states they were affiliated with the Institute of Radiation Medicine of the Academy of Military Medical Sciences. Wow, that's a mouthful. Radiation Medicine of the Academy of Military Medical Sciences. It states the CCP conducted similar studies in 2001 under its Academy of Military Medical Sciences in its National University of Defense Technology. Psychotronic weapons. Now, this is what I'm talking about, and a lot of other TIs are talking about when they're saying remote neural monitoring, remote neural manipulation, neuroweapons, psychotronic weapons. And I'm getting a lot of that right now. They're really doing stuff to my brain that I'm just like, boy, what kind of injuries, are going on there. Okay, psychotronic weapons. On the sonic level, humans can generally hear anything from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Above this range is ultrasound, and below this range is infrasound. On the electromagnetic spectrum, meanwhile, humans can generally see only an extremely narrow range of light known as Roy Biv, referring to the color spectrum. Between infrared and ultraviolet, beyond ultraviolet are X rays and then gamma rays. Below infrared are microwaves and then radio waves, followed by very low frequencies, then extremely low frequencies. Technologies using these spectrums are not limited to China, and other countries, including the United States, have developed weapons within these categories. Okay. According to Bunker, a number of these weapons technologies may have originated with Soviet-era programs, but have since proliferated to or were appropriated by other national defense programs. Documents recently released by the Washington State Fusion Center, obtained through a FOIA request by Muckrock, detail the uses of electromagnetic frequency weapons, the technologies to carry out such attacks, and their impacts on the human body and human consciousness. Among the stated effects, according to documents, are forced memory blanking and induced erroneous actions, various forms of intense pain on different parts of the human body, wildly racing heart without cause, induced changes to hearing, controlled dreams, and many others. And this is that diagram and the information that Muckrock got from the FOIA request. Psychoelectronic weapons effects. Another document shows how such attacks can be carried out by mobile phone networks, vehicles, helicopters, and emitters. It also lists the resonance frequencies of various parts of the human brain and states the technologies can be used for sound which bypasses the ears, images in the brain bypassing the eyes, imposed subconscious thoughts, and other purposes. And I'd say all of those can be done with this stuff, and all of them have been used on me and many other targeted individuals watching this and that I've talked to. A third document details the bioelectromagnetic field of the human body and the different frequencies of human brain waves. So I'm just going to read this. It might, I don't know a lot about frequencies and delta and theta and alpha. So, I want to read through this to learn more. I need to learn more about the specific hertz. Hertz is used. I'm just not very good with that. It doesn't come to me very quickly, like some things, like video games. Okay, spectrum, emission or wave propagation, electronic signal, to make communication to identifying any object emitting frequency. Human body emit very low electronic signal as temperature or heat, brainwave, delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, etc. So they have this little thing, that little picture is like our a low electronic signal that the body gives off, or bioelectric signal that our body's producing. So bioelectromagnetic field, which is unique to every human body. This is electronic signal frequency ID of each object. So we all have an electronic signal frequency ID, and I think that's used. Our specific, unique fingerprint, body energy, or low electronic signal that our body gives off. That's what they're homing in on. That's one of the redundant systems. Other than implants, nanotechnology, nanoparticulates, maybe some things that smart dust, things like that. And then they're also using a unique body signature, brain signature. John Hall talks a lot about that in his book, Guinea Pigs. And what's the other book? A New Breed, Satellite, something, A New Breed. I need to read those in the Robert Duncan books to just solidify some basic information. I mean, I know a lot about this stuff because it's like all I research. I mean, I do other stuff, but I'm isolated, and this is like I have to do something about this all the time. And I'm trying to just find a niche where I don't have to have that much energy to do it. And these videos seem like a good way. Yeah, yeah. Basically, that's it, guys. All right. So human brainwave delta is the frequency range up to 4 hertz. Theta is the frequency range from 4 hertz to 7 hertz. Alpha is the frequency range from 8 hertz to 12 hertz. Beta is the frequency range from 12 hertz to about 30 hertz. Gamma is the frequency range from approximately 30 to 100 hertz. Mu range is 8 to 13 hertz. Okay. I don't really understand hertz and everything like that. Got to learn more. According to Bunker, weapons such as these are becoming a greater focus in military development around the world. 21st century warfare is gradually shifting from conventional gun, missile, and bomb technologies, which are mechanically derived, into exotic and advanced new technologies that literally weaponize bands of the electromagnetic spectrum and then direct them at the opposing forces, he said. China is well aware of the military value of DO, as well as artificial intelligence, armed robots, drones, facial recognition, anti-satellite, and swarming technologies, and is actively experimenting with them in field tests and even now apparently in clandestine operations, he said. America is doing the same. Future wars. The declassified military report notes that some of the technologies are related to the CCP's Assassin's Mace, Xiaoxunjian or Trump Card program, which uses a blend of asymmetrical and unconventional weapons designed to launch surprise attacks and rapidly win a war. An Assassin's Mace attack from CCP would likely take the form of rapid attacks on GPS satellites to disable key military equipment, the use of EMP from a nuclear blast to destroy electronics in wide areas, rapid strikes on airstrips to disable military planes, and various other forms of attack. The report states the CCP's Assassin's Mace weapons will permit China's low technology forces to prevail over U.S. high technology forces in a localized conflict, according to these political pronouncements. It notes the CCP has experimented with EMP warheads and the use of nuclear weapons for high-altitude electromagnetic pulse attacks to destroy electronic infrastructure. Both the CCP and the United States have also developed technologies using microwave and EMP weapons to destroy technology in targeted locations. According to an article published by Popular Science in January 2017, the CCP's Northwest Institute of Nuclear Technology has been working on such technology for over 6 years. In the United States, Boeing and the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory Directed Energy Directorate. So in the United States, Boeing and the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory Directed Energy Directorate have developed similar weapons that can destroy electronic targets with enough precision to target individual buildings. According to Bunker, the recent alleged attack on the U.S. government employee in China should be viewed in the context of similar attacks on U.S. diplomatic personnel in Havana, Cuba. He said the sonic technology allegedly used in both incidents shines a spotlight on potential Chinese security services involvement in these incidents, given their medically similar bioeffects. He said that in the context of trade and defense tensions between the United States and China, it's possible that the CCP may be sporadically engaging U.S. military and governmental personnel covertly on the margins as a component of an active engagement program following the tenets of unrestricted warfare type thinking. Okay, so that was that article, and that's what all the militaries of the Five Eye countries and a lot of militaries, they're going to this unrestricted warfare, full spectrum dominance, do whatever it takes, war by deceit. That's what they're all doing now. The deceit has gotten so far and so far and so far and so far that to lie and to control information, that's what it's all about now. We live in a very evil world. We do. We live in a very evil, greedy world where nobody trusts each other, and the people with a lot of money keep the wars going. Um, and the full spectrum dominance. Full spectrum dominance. Everybody wants to dominate everybody and control everybody. Um, not normal people, not the silent majority who are good people who just want to live their lives, but the people in power, the people with real power. They're in this structure where that's what the agencies they're doing are trying to get full scale dominance, trying to get all the information in the world, trying to know what everybody's doing so that they have control. And a lot of these industries aren't just about control, they're about money, which is more control. So I never get it, and I guess it's just going to remain an insane thing because this is happening to me, and I can look up the information, and I can know what's going on. The people who are like, what's the motive for this? Why would they spend so many resources tracking and using this technology on you or something like that? They're doing it to a lot of people because it's this mass experimentation. So they're singling out the person that comes along and says, well, this is happening to me. They're singling them out as if they're the only person in the world who is being attacked by this stuff. It's large scale human experimentation. So it's like the people in MK Ultra, they were picked too. Um, I don't understand that argument in motive. They're like, what's the motive for that? Money, control, advancing weapons, advancing wars, knowing exactly what these weapons can do, and also, really learning about the brain and the nervous system. That's like the most power that anybody could have, to know how people are thinking. At the top of the pyramid, they have way too much knowledge, and I think I've said this on my videos. They have way too much knowledge about how we all work. We don't need them to get any more, and then that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing every single day, every single second, is collecting more information and knowledge about how people work and what they will, shut up about and not talk about, what they're going to have peer pressure about, not talking about, what they'll get mad about, so they know how far not to step. But if they can step as far as murdering people in their homes with microwaves, then we're already in the red zone. All right, let me go to another article, guys. Go back to the main page, and I want to go to this. The article that I read last time had some unique articles underneath. Doctors' details of neuroweapon attacks in Havana. And then I want to go down to the other articles. So this is by USS SOCOM, Donovan Group, and SoftWorks. Future neurocognitive warfare shall target cognitive, physiological, and behavioral vulnerabilities of adversary. International defense, security, and technology. Let's go to this one. I think this one could be good. And I'll just read it. And I'll come back to these. I'm just going to read these two articles today just to lay some more solid groundwork. And what is this? Is it a video? Oh, come on. No. What magazine was it? International Defense, Security, and Technology. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to kind of just slow down, go through the information. Now, I was going to start talking about something else, but I don't want to get too far off topic. I just kind of want to stay on the articles. So, a moment of silence for my electronic cigarette. Okay. Okay. Rand envisioned the world. Wait, is that the article? Is that the article that I was looking for? Or is it under this? This isn't. Looks like an interesting article, but I don't think that's the article I wanted. Oh, I clicked on another one. Good catch, Kyle. Okay, future neurocognitive warfare, and actually, when they're saying future neurocognitive warfare, this is happening right now. So everything they talk about, uh, imagine it happening to a bunch of innocent American civilians, and then other innocent civilians in other countries like England, Australia, Sweden, New Zealand, Poland. This is present warfare, but they're talking about it as if it's in the future because they have to talk about these things in certain ways. This is a good connecting the dots article. I'm having a. I haven't read it yet, but I get a good feeling. Get a good feeling about it. Okay. Future neurocognitive warfare shall target cognitive, physiological, and behavioral vulnerabilities of adversary. August 21st, 2018. What did I? Is that the same? Okay, International Defense Security. I'm really messed up today, guys. Really messed up. Okay. In past, war was more at physical level, which was a violent clash between hostile forces, with each force trying to impose their will on the other. In future, the warfare shall be more cognitive. Potential adversaries are using the information space to wage war at the cognitive level, the general continued. What general is this? And the threats are not going away. They are getting more frequent and more dangerous. We are facing another change in the character of war. Now, 21st century warfare is about winning information in the so called decision space, either before or during the conflict. For the general, this is what characterizes fifth generation warfare. It is about the fight for information, General Stewart declared. And think about that. Think about the mainstream media. Think about Project Mockingbird. Think about how they control, things about national defense. They don't want the mainstream media. How a lot of the mainstream media and the people that own these corporations are directly tied to the CFR. It's a fight about information. So information is a huge weapon for both sides, guys. Knowledge is power, and in these things, we've got to know who's doing this, why they're doing it. That's why it's so scary to see people, who are not going through this, be like, oh, those people are lunatics, because they're working in this dangerous world, with no knowledge, with just like, oh no, that could never happen, and that means they're in a position to be hurt. Like they're in a position to be hurt by this. Like if we're aware of these things, then we're more protected. We have more knowledge about them. So don't, like, people who are like, oh, that's a bunch of crazy idiots and stuff like that, and I'm not going to learn about that. Don't feel too good about yourself, because you're really not learning information that can save your life in the future. Um, so I don't know if this article is that great. I'll read it anyway. I may read another article. Not starting to feel better though. I'm like still feeling as bad as I did when I started making the video. Means the information I'm getting out is good. And I know. I mean, like I made that decision a long time ago where I was like, I'll probably get hit harder and my attackers. But to me, like a lot of people, they say like, and this is just a quick point. They're like, oh, I'm getting out so much important information that like the whole program thinks I'm dangerous, so they're getting my attackers to like hurt me more. I sense that it's more of my individual attackers just don't want to look like they're not they don't want to look bad. They don't want me putting information out and then everybody like that they're working with and the contractors being like, why are you letting him get all this information out? So I guess on a big scale it's like that, but I get this feeling like it's they feel like they're not doing their job handling me if I'm getting out good information. So that's why they really bust me up if I'm getting out some good information. But I guess that's the same thing. It's like the levers of censorship that work all the way down the pyramid. You know, if a group is like, well, we need to handle our target, or we're going to look weak, or we're going to look like, you know, we're not doing our jobs, you know, destroying people's lives, then that works all the way up to keep information from coming out, so that anybody who's getting out important information down this level, you know, of compartmentalization, they're going to get attacked harder for many number of reasons, you know. Oof. Okay, as Lieutenant General Vincent R. Stewart, USMC, Director, Defense Intelligence Agency, said, modern warfare is a cognitive battle. To be successful, warfare must strive to control information. Simply put, it is to know what to do and when to do it, he said. And if you don't control information, or your decision-making cycle is disrupted, or your cognitive ability is degraded, you are not able to win or fight effectively. To support cognitive warfare and the collection, dissemination, distribution, and protection of information, the military needs an impenetrable network. Currently, networks and information systems aren't resilient enough to survive sustained warfare, the general allowed. Future network defense must be resilient, reliable, and redundant. Redundant. I use that word a lot. I didn't get it from any kind of military thing. I just think about, you know, redundant systems, like there are video games with redundant systems to pick up. It's hard to explain if people who don't know about video games, but from the very beginning, when people would tell me like, "Oh, this is all implants," I'd say, you know, no, because you know, or people are like, "It's all drones," or "It's all ground weapons," or something like that. We know that's not true, because redundant systems is like the cornerstone of all this. Stopgap measures. You know that if you are outside, like I went to Green Bank, West Virginia, was hit on the plane. So I'm sure that wasn't coming from a cell tower around the place where I lived, but it was some kind of redundant system, either a drone nearby, or straight from a satellite, or over the horizon radar. And then with the catalysts in our body, you know, implantation with like rice size, you know, I've gone over this, but implantation, you know, nanotechnology, nanoparticulates, the biofilm, which I would put in the category of nanoparticulates, and then smart dust, which I guess smart dust and nanotechnology are probably very closely related. Um, and then your actually unique body brain free signature and resonance that they hone in on. They try and resonate with that when they're hitting you. So many redundant systems. I think that's what the like military, the military industrial complex, and the CIA, all of our intelligence agencies are all about. It's like, if this doesn't work, we drop to this. If this doesn't work, we go back to this. If this doesn't work, we go back to this. So like if I'm using a magnet and my implant's not, you know, giving a signal, which I'm not 100% sure I have an implant, but I'm pretty sure, then they would drop back to, okay, well, we're just gonna use those catalysts in his body. You know, we're gonna get a bead on him, an image of him, and hit him with that. Then if those aren't working, they're like, okay, well, we'll just use his unique brainwave signature. You know, if I'm really doing a good cleansing, like if I'm doing a really good cleansing and I don't have the biofilm on my skin or nanoparticulates, then you know, they'd be like, okay, well, let's go to his implant. Just use the implant. So you see redundant systems like that. That's, you know, what we're facing here. We're facing a bunch of psycho Satanists with a bunch of, you know, advanced technology and very redundant systems. How did we get here? Like how? I don't. I like the 1990s. That's when I was a kid. Um, okay. Neuroscience research promises huge benefits for the world. For countries with rapidly aging populations, advances in the field will be integral to managing and alleviating chronic pain, mental illness, and neurocognitive degenerative conditions such as dementia. Dementia alone was estimated to cost the United States as much as $215 billion in 2010, including an opportunity cost for patients, families, and caregivers. Researchers estimate this figure will surpass $1 trillion per year by 2040 unless new interventions are found. And there's a rise in Alzheimer's and a rise in dementia and things like that, and they're just saying these things are happening naturally, but neuroweapons and directed energy and non-ionizing microwave radiation cause Alzheimer's, they cause dementia, cause cancer. So that right there, spending more money on curing dementia, and that's how these neuroweapons are going to help us. It's a sick way to put things together in an article. At the same time, neuroscience presents a range of possible uses for countries seeking to improve national security, whether against conventional threats from other states or militant non-state groups. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, more commonly known as DARPA, is seeking advances in the science of behavior, prediction, and modification that would improve intelligence gathering and detection and confrontation of security threats. So let me read that again and preface it with saying motive. Why would some normal citizens, why would they want to use neuroweapons and gang stalking and things like that and surveillance and see how they can affect somebody's behavior, see how they can affect somebody's beliefs? Like, I mean, Robert Duncan talks about this, but let me reread it with that preface. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, more commonly known as DARPA, is seeking advances in the science of behavior prediction and modification that would improve intelligence gathering and behavior modification, that would improve intelligence gathering and detection and confrontation of security threats. Neurological warfare would aim for enhancing the I guess that's a typo, would aim for enhancing the cognitive skills of our own forces while degrading that of adversaries. So we asked the question, are the people on the shift working with this automated software, they could be getting streams of energy going to their head, but trying to do the opposite, trying to give them more energy, pump up the adrenaline system, maybe give them violent thoughts that weren't there before, for people who aren't with it enough. So we've got to ask those questions. We've got to ask those questions too in our individual targeting with the people microwaving us. And a lot of target individuals talk about that. I do think that these weapons are used on the people doing this to us, and they're integrated with some of this technology and stuff like that, but it's for different means. But still, it's pumping non-ionizing microwave radiation into them. So it's still deadly and dangerous. They're just not feeling the pain, like in nerve centers in their body being signals being sent to those from what's it called? Well, from remote neural manipulation. But I wanted to start using the term. I can't remember it. Brian too uses it a lot. Has neural amplification. Neural amplification. I'm going to start using that term a lot. So I feel like that's what remote neural manipulation has a lot to do with. And Charles Hall uses it a lot. He comes to my he comments and and comes to my live streams. Very smart guy. Very, very smart guy, man. Neurological warfare would aim for enhancing, okay, I already read that, enhancing the cognitive skills of our own forces while degrading that of adversaries. Drugs and various forms of brain stimulation can be used to optimize the performance of military personnel, which some view as affording potential to create super soldiers. The brain science can be harnessed to develop weapons that act on the nervous system to produce profound physical effects and in some cases cause death. Indeed, the recent use of sarin gas and the nerve agent, what's that? Is that 15? Oh, 15 was like VX, just VX. As y'all can tell how I'm doing today. Not good. VX has prompted renewed discussions about the continued availability of neurological weapons and the viability of dual-use applications of neuroscience research. Cognitive warfare. Cognitive warfare targets adversaries' cognitive vulnerabilities. Herbert A. Simon, a founding father of artificial intelligence, introduced the concept of bounded rationality in the late 1950s in Models of Man, social and rational mathematical essays on rational human behavior in a social setting. This theory holds that humans are not fully rational and are limited by their cognitive abilities when making decisions. Humans have a finite ability to process information and to explore the results of alternative choices. Military organizations are subject to the bounded rationality problem. What's going on? Has it been like an hour yet? Oh, wow. See how long this article is real quick, guys. I think I'll just do this article. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up with this article, but I'm gonna be reading more articles from this source, because I mean these are articles that the Department of Defense, these agencies underneath the Department of Defense, like the Directed Energy Professional Society, and this is basically awareness for people who want to put money, investors, military personnel, and things like that. That's why you're not seeing this like pushed out to the mainstream media, because this really, the public can gain access to it, but they ain't trying. They're trying to hush it up, because then people will connect the dots together, and a lot of those people that are like, "Hey, you guys are crazy jerks," they're going to be like, "Whoa, this is happening, because look at this evidence. These are the exact same weapons these people say they're being hit with before even knowing about them." And then you'd actually be logical, and you'd be making a logical conclusion. So I'd be very proud of you. If you are one of those people who says like, "Oh, that's totally schizophrenia," and you do look at this information and you say, "Hold on, wait, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that there was actually evidence of these weapons existing, and they're doing so much research and development on them. Who are they doing that research and development on? Oh yeah, these people that are saying they're doing research and development on them." And then I'd be like, "High five, brother. Bump, fist bump." You know. Okay, so in their seminal work, Judgment Under Uncertainty, Heuristics and Biases from 1982, Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman similarly observed that humans suffer from limited memory, attention, and the cognitive capacity necessary to identify and process the utility of all options when making decisions. Therefore, humans create mental heuristics, rules of thumb, to make decisions in complex environments. These heuristics rely largely upon previous experience and are subject to predictable errors or biases. All military officers have unique experiences and personalities that serve as their foundation for cognitive reasoning. It is essential to take these individual differences into consideration when examining future military capabilities. Of note, this pioneering study was funded and directed by the Office of Naval Research, demonstrating the Navy's enduring interest in this topic. Mm-hmm. Now, I also wonder why there's so many targets like by water, near water, and somebody said that. I had thought it before, but they said it on their YouTube videos. Florida, New York, Oregon, California. California is the worst place for targeting, which I don't know all the reasons for that, but it makes me suspicious because naval intelligence is heavily involved in this research and development, and I think that some of these frequencies could be lines that they've laid under the ocean, or from actual like submarines or stations out in the ocean. Uh, Stations like with massive microwave towers that are way more massive than anything that we have on land in the United States. But I'm not sure about that. That's just a kind of a theory of why these people near water are targeted. There's more of the population is targeted than inland. Um, Kind of something to think about, guys. Maybe comment about it if you have some knowledge about it. U.S.'s neurocognitive warfare concept. U.S. has coined the neurocognitive warfare concept. Every year, the U.S. Army holds an annual conference called the Mad Scientist Future Technology Seminar that considers blue sky ideas for the future of warfare. Blue sky ideas? Murdering a bunch of people? You know, messing up their heads? It's blue sky? Blue sky ideas? Wired's Danger Room discusses the conference and links to an unclassified PDF summary of the meeting, which contains this interesting paragraph about neurocognitive warfare. In the far term, beyond 2030, developments in neurocognitive warfare could have significant impacts. Neurocognitive warfare is the mashing of electromagnetic, infrasonic, and light technologies to target human neural and physiological systems. Let me read that again, that's very important. Neurocognitive warfare is the mashing of electromagnetic, infrasonic, and light technologies to target human neural and physiological systems. Weaponized capabilities at the tactical level will be focused on degrading the cognitive, physiological, and behavioral characteristics of soldiers. Its small size and localized effects will make it ideal for employment in urban areas. Such technology could be employed through online immersive environments such as 2D Life or other electronic mediums to surreptitiously impact behavior without the knowledge of the target. Like some of this VR crap for PS4, you know, they could be, you know, have in the VR helmet, they could have certain frequencies that are doing stuff to people's heads. I mean, I'm being hit with like streams of energy externally, but all these new electronics and things that we have, they're going to have capabilities, and these people, a lot of people who are being targeted don't know it, and some of the people that are being targeted, like, I don't know, like, because when I was a kid, I was really funny. I had a lot of energy, a lot more energy than everybody, and just could say the right things all the time. So I'm not sure if some of my targeting at an early age was actually neural amplification in a positive way. I'm not sure about that, but I know that right now, but it turned very negative, you know, later on. But but there are people out there who are just like, what, you know, their cognitive ability is off the map. You know, it's not normal. They're actually probably in protocols that are doing positive things to their body, but still, you know, what's the word? Just still showering them with microwave radiation. But they feel real good and they're smart and stuff like that. So there are probably those kind of protocols also. And for the people who are like attacking us, you know, they're trying to get them to be more hateful or more adrenalized or things like that. This is dangerous, and we all have to know about this. We all have to know that it's happening, even if you're not being directly targeted. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I just feel like crap. I can tell by the cheesy jokes. You'll probably be hearing a lot more cheesy jokes because that's how I'm gonna have to deal with it. 'Cause I get way too mopey. I get way too mopey and just in dark. So I'm gonna try and turn that another way. Um, but I got some good information out today. This is one-to-one, guys. You know, so for people who maybe stumble across my channel who, you know, don't believe in this, um, it's really going on. It's really going on, and there's just so much evidence out there. Targeted individuals that are going through this, you know, that's who mostly watches my channel. You know, use these resources. Come here and check some stuff out. If you find something that I'm not seeing, send me an email at vulcanwolverine@gmail.com. I need to check my emails. I haven't been checking. I've been just kind of trying to patch together some research and get some good information out. I'm going to go in and check my emails like probably, yeah, either tonight or tomorrow. And if you got something that you're just like, this is really important, targeted individuals need to know this. You know, this connects a lot of dots. Please send it to me. I'm not getting a lot of stuff sent to me. You know, this I'll put it out there. Like, I mean, as long as it's not something completely left field, you know, I'll put it out there. All right, guys, I do love y'all. to try and pick up my energy level, maybe do something else this weekend, maybe go through some more articles, just to keep building that foundation of awareness. That's going to help all these other things. And was that it? Was that? Yeah, I think that's it, guys. But I love y'all. I hope y'all are finding some comfort in this hell. And leave a comment. Please leave a comment. I need to go through some comments and see if y'all have some questions and things like that. I haven't really gotten to that this week. But all right, guys, let's just stay strong. I know this is hell on earth. Let's believe that we can affect change. Let's believe that we can fell Goliath, together. And let's just believe in God's plan. This is what he puts into my today. I was just like, I got to get more information out. So I know this is what God wants me to be doing in this situation. And there's a lot of beauty in life. There's a lot of beauty. I know this is very dark, but there's some good people out there. There's still things to experience in life that are great and beautiful people that will be nice to you and love you. So, try and put a focus on those things and push some of this negative stuff, push it to the side. Condition yourself to push as much of it as you can to the side, and then to defend, from the very hardcore external microwave stuff. All right, guys. God bless y'all. God bless and protect you and your families. And let's just keep trucking. All right. I'll see y'all in the next one.